This'll do. Hello. Hope you're all drinking water. Because I'm sure as hell not drinking enough. Okay, I am going to be so awkward in this video. I'm not used to talking to a camera. I'm gonna have to train myself to look at the camera instead of myself. So it's probably good for my ego. But hi, my name is Carrie Ann, and I'm starting a YouTube channel after ironically making fun of people who have YouTube channels and all the time just blurting out, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I now am making one, so it's the real karma is happening, I think. But yeah, I am going to join Booktube. So hello to my 0 subscribers that I currently have. I think today I'm going to do the Booktube newbie tag, which no one tagged me for. I tagged myself. I invited myself to this party. And basically just have this as a first video so that you can get to know me if you care. Somehow stumble upon this small corner of Booktube. My name is Carrie Ann. I am 26 next month. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, in the South. It's very hot. I also have an external air conditioning unit that I can't have on while I'm filming, so I am sweating. So just know that. Yeah, I took the questions for this tag from Rebecca Eats Books, and yeah, I guess I'll just jump into it. Why did you start this channel? That's question number 1. Why did you start this channel? I already have several creative outlets. However, nothing other than my Goodreads account for talking about books. And I love talking about books. And also, my badass superstar single mother single-handedly put me through college for an English degree. So I feel like I should be putting that to good use, out of respect. And also I love to read. I love books. And I went for a period of time not reading at all because I got so burnt out after school. I got back into it mid-pandemic in the fall. So I just started reading a ton, and I started doing a bunch of research on new releases and people on Booktube and people on Bookstagram. Just trying to figure out what I do like to read. I've been reading nonstop since then, and it's been really good for me. I think that one of the most healthy things I can do for myself is reading, because it gets me out of my small corner of the world. It gets me out of my own shoes, puts me in someone else's shoes, and really exercises that muscle of empathy and expands your worldview and understanding of people and things and situations. And that's something that I really do want in my life, and I really care about expanding my understanding of. Also, of course, I just want to feel clever in general. I want to get better at articulating literature and articulating what I think about a book so that I can better recommend them to friends and just, sound intelligent in everyday life, because I am learning so much in books that I read, so I want to be able to articulate that properly. Question number 2 is, what are some fun/unique things you can bring to YouTube? Probably nothing unique. I guess everyone's their own person and they bring their personality to things. I really just feel like I'm shouting into the void, but I like to believe that some people have interesting things to say for whoever needs to hear them. So I hope I can bring that. When I like get a notification from someone I love watching, I'm like, yes. So maybe I can offer that to someone else. Otherwise, it's very healthy for me to externalize what I'm reading in this way, I think. But as for fun and unique, I might want to go somewhere else. For fun, I'm not sure if fun is how I would describe myself in everyday life. Question number 3. What are you most excited about for this channel? I'm excited about, like I said, using it for an outlet and maybe connecting with other Booktube people who I already love, and finding that common ground. I have some really fun video ideas. I do want to do some like celebrity book recommendation videos a la UnCarly, who I love watching. I'm excited to use this as a creative outlet that's more low pressure. I do have an everyday job that I work that's 9 to 5, and I work in the writing and design industries. And then I also have a passion project on the side that I run called Midnight Woman, and it's a website, and I run that as a platform, and it has an extension called Low Day that's like a series of interviews that I do. And I love doing that. That's really like my main passion project, but it can be exhausting, and I think that reading is such a comfort for me, and it's a way to feel comfort while also like expanding my mind. That's how I think of it. So having this as just a fun, low stakes, hopefully, outlet, that's what I'm most excited to have. Next question, number 4. What book or series got you into reading? Okay, so this is where the judgment begins. I think a good place to start would be The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I've also pulled all these books, so that's exciting. Yeah. This guy. This book my mom showed to me because she said it was one of her favorite books that she read when she was younger. And this is the book I remember, like, this isn't my original copy, but I remember getting a copy from Barnes & Noble in my hometown and just carrying it around everywhere. Like, as soon as I finished it, I started it over again, and I just thought the writing was so beautiful, and the Stay Golden, Pony Boy whole thing was just I felt really connected to it. This is the first time I remember having that. And I still remember it to this day, and I still have a copy. Next, between middle school and high school, I found Sarah Dessen, so probably like 8th grade. Sarah Dessen is a YA author. She's actually North Carolina based, and that's where I'm from. So we had a lot of her books in my school library, my middle school library. I really fell in love with her books. I think being a young woman and growing up with the love story trope kind of being thrust onto your person as you're growing up as a woman in the world, at least in America, I loved love stories. And when I found Sarah Dessen, the first book that I read by her was Truth About Forever. And this is the original cover that I read. It was a library edition in my school library, but this is just so nostalgic to me. Yeah, so The Truth About Forever. When did this come out? 2004. But yeah, this was a love story that I really connected with. It's the first one I remember connecting with. Before Twilight, before my vampire phase that I'm sure many teenage girls had.
Is there anything better than pussy? Yes, a really good book.
It was the first one that I really connected with, and she wrote some darker stories as well, such as Dreamland, Just Listen, that had themes of domestic abuse and about rape and sexual assault, and those just felt really meaningful to me. And I like her writing. It's very accessible. It was accessible as a middle schooler. And then lastly, high school. In high school, I really began to develop my own personality, and I do have the mental illness. And I did have the mental illness in high school, but it was very much unchecked. I didn't start going to therapy until I was in college, so I went through some like shitty stuff in high school, just like everyone did. And in high school, you feel things so deeply when you're a teenager. Everything is just more intense. And so a book that I really connected with was Perks of Being a Wallflower. We all love this. Love the movie as well. Logan Lerman, King. I love this book. It's the first time I remember reading and being aware that I was reading an epistolary novel, just in the form of letters. I really loved it. It also dealt with some darker themes like sexual assault, child abuse, and teenagers who also felt things very deeply and had, you know, hard times in their lives. And that was really nice to feel understood. So this was like my high school book that I felt really understood by. This was my therapy. I wasn't in real therapy, high school. Okay, next question. Where do you read? Well, my room. I read in my room, in my bed a lot. I have a reading chair. I also like reading outside. I live in a really cute house in Nashville with my close good friend Madeline and her dog Riggins, and I like being outside and sitting outside her house. It's really beautiful here, and as long as there aren't bugs crawling on me, I am okay to be outdoors, at least for a small amount of time. I'm definitely a homebody, but yeah, I think I read a lot in my bed and downstairs in the living room, on our patio, on our front step. Okay, next question. What kind of books do you like to read? Okay, this is gonna be a longer question answer, I'm sure. But this will give you a good gauge of what I like, what you might see from this channel if I keep making videos. I say that because honestly, who knows if I'll ever upload this at all. So let's start with fiction. I really like literary fiction. I like reading female authors. I try to make a point to read minority authors as well. I love autofiction. I also love stream of consciousness writing, which you can kind of see throughout my whole little collection that I've pulled here. An example is Weather by Jenny Awful. I read this in December. Also, I love this cover. It's just like a really good size, the book. I read this in December. I recommended it to a friend and she did not like it and I felt bad, but I really like the stream of consciousness, kind of fragmented thought type fiction, and that's kind of what this is. And I just got another Jenny Awful book that I'm hoping to read, but yeah, I really enjoy things like this. I recently read this, No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood, and it changed my life. It rocked my world. This book is so fucking good. I also have found out that I really like books about the internet because I am a human being who is online. I like books about being online, and this book just created a really healthy and challenging dialogue in my own head about what it means to be online and what we should be caring about in today's world. And I think that we should all be asking ourselves that. This book is fucking amazing and I recommend it to anyone. And then lastly, this is more of a general fiction, but this is Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I love Alice Hoffman. I love her writing. I have read a handful of books by her. I choose this one because I feel like it's more well known. And it's the first book I ever knew she had written because I love the movie Practical Magic. Nicole Kidman energy in Practical Magic is definitely the energy I am always trying to bring to my life. Definitely failing, definitely not as cool, definitely not as tortured, probably for the best, but I also love this cover. This is the first edition and I got it at the last bookstore in LA. I like general fiction such as this, such as Magic Lessons, which is one of the prequels to Practical Magic. She just writes so beautifully, and she's crafted this world of the Owen sisters and this family so well, and I love obviously the dialogue of feminism through witchcraft and being witchy. Next, I'll talk about memoir. Maybe the most important type of memoir that I've read is Bluets by Maggie Nelson. I found this in college in 2014 or 2015. I was on a school trip in New York. I used to be quite religious and quite spiritual. Not so much anymore. I felt this really strong connection to color when I was more spiritual, and that was a time that felt really intense to me, and I felt a real connection to the color blue, and I had this tattoo already, these blue birds. And so I saw this on the shelf and I was like, oh, this is fate that I was meant to find this. This book was placed here just for me. Typical 19-year-old style thinking. I found this book. I went and sat on the High Line and read this in one sitting and felt like my life had changed. I felt like there was a time in my life before I read Bluets, and then there was the time after. And that's how I categorized my life from then on. I thought I was the only person who'd ever discovered Maggie Nelson. But this book is just so beautiful. It's so powerful and meaningful, and it's very fragmented and has an experimental form that's more like an essay. It's so short, you can read it in one sitting. My copy is beat to absolute shit. I used it for my thesis in college too. Maggie Nelson is one of my favorite writers. Her brutally honest stream of consciousness style is something that made me fall in love with reading again. She's incredible. Love stuff like this. So you can expect that from my channel. And second, with memoir, Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This is also something that you might hear me talk about a lot. The website that I run on the side, Midnight Woman, I started because I was sexually assaulted in college and I felt like I was really silenced. My voice was silenced by the college I went to, and I felt like no one believed me when I reported it. So when I graduated and I started Midnight Woman as a platform where people could tell stories, that was how I got my closure. That was how I got my justice about what happened to me. Similar themes here in Chanel Miller's story. If you don't know, Chanel Miller was the Jane Doe in the Brock Turner case. She is so much more than that, and she's an incredible writer. I underlined so many things in this because I just really resonated with what happened to her, and I really respect that she was able to externalize that and make this book and make something beautiful out of something extremely shitty that happened to her. Last category of what you can expect from me on this channel is more self-help kind of philosophy or self-care. I'm not really sure what the category would be because those sound stupid. The examples I'm going to show are The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This book is a very important book in my life. I've reread it a handful of times. It was a recommendation from someone I really admire, Sharon Van Etten. She said this book changed her life. And it changed my life. I literally reference this book once a week. It basically introduces these 4 mantras on personal freedom in your own life. And I think it's a privilege to be able to read self-help, because obviously you can't read self-help books if you're worrying about when you're gonna be able to eat next. I think it's really a privilege that I'm able to live my life and then also change the way I think and improve my mental thinking and mental health. So I do acknowledge that. And then another example is The Moon Lists by Lee Patterson. She's amazing. And this is like a guided journal. It's also beautifully designed. Yeah, so that's what I like to read 15 minutes later. And then last, I thought I would talk about the booktubers that I like. The first booktuber that I ever watched was Sunbeam's Jess. Jess is great. She doesn't just do book content. She does like fashion and stuff, but she's extremely intelligent, has multiple degrees, is a voracious reader. Love watching her videos. 2, Carly Thorne, is one that I found more recently. She's amazing. So funny. Like SNL, you need to give her a call. So fucking funny. Rebecca Eats Books, like I said. Love her. She recommended Blueberries by Elena Savage, changed my life. You know, the whole thing. Ben Green, who's a part of that same group. He's amazing. Lives in Tel Aviv with his partner, and they're just glamorous. Similar kind of tastes with autofiction and memoir as well. CJ Reads, I've been watching. I found Rebecca Eats Books, Ben Green, and CJ Reads all in one kind of go because they're in a similar circle. I love all of them. That's what I've been watching recently. I hope that I actually go through with uploading this and get to talk about books with you. I have a lot of good ideas. If you are watching this, it means you're either one of my friends or you've somehow found me, and that's great. So thank you for watching and welcome to the channel.